Welcome back to the show. James Rule XRP. It is Wednesday. I tell you what, it is July 17th, 2024, and there are some amazing things going on. This is going to be a short and quick and an exciting video because I have a couple of video clips. You know, there's some amazing things going on that are taking place in crypto right now, and we're going to look at it for a couple minutes. Before we get started, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm a cryptocurrency teacher. Follow me on X, formerly Twitter, @RuleXRP. Today's episode is sponsored by iTrustCapital. Here about 4 years ago, I took all of my 401ks, all of my savings, and rolled it into an IRA with iTrustCapital. And in the past 3 to 4 years, my total retirement of 30-something years has tripled because I put it into digital assets. Check it out. There's a link below. Tell them James Rule XRP sent you about. All right, let's take a look at these numbers. Today's total market cap is $2.436 trillion. Bitcoin's at 64,361. Ethereum's at 3,401. Solana 156. But look at XRP, 63.4 cents. It's up 9.5% in the last 24 hours. 44.21% in the last 7 days. What is going on with XRP? For the month, we are up 28.68%. Are there things happening behind closed doors that we don't know about? Hold on to your XRP, not financial advice. Let's keep going. Crypto Guy tagged me in this video clip. It is an interview with Brad Garlinghouse on Bloomberg Business, 7/17 today, 24. XRP Army. Check it out. Check it out.
Joining us now from the Republican National Convention is Brad Garlinghouse, CEO of Ripple Labs. Brad will also attend the DNC next month. Brad, what is your message to the RNC and DNC?
Well, my first message is really that this should have never really become a partisan issue. I think all of us should embrace technical innovation, and these are technologies that truly can transform the cost and efficiency of financial transactions particularly. And so our message is really that we as an industry want to be regulated. We want to have the clarity of that regulation, and it's been refreshing to see the Republican Party kind of lean into that as part of their platform.
You've definitely seen crypto move towards President Trump. Why? What is the Biden administration doing that's so wrong that crypto guys don't like it?
Well, I think the primary thing that has happened is, 5 years ago, I was out publicly saying that there wasn't clarity in the rules of the road. And 5 years later, after Ripple was sued by the United States SEC, we still don't have clarity in those rules of the road. And so you have in this administration, in Chair Gensler as the chairman of the United States Securities and Exchange Commission, really a fight between the SEC and to some degree the CFTC about who is the regulator of consequence. And Chair Gensler has taken the position that kind of everything is what he calls a digital security or something like that. Judges have ruled against him repeatedly, but this administration has kind of continued that fight against the industry.
What's your conversations that you're having right now with the existing administration? I mean, you referenced some of those lawsuits, and of course, I think it was last July where you at least had that partial victory in that case, and ultimately, more or less, that worked out in your favor, depending on all the legal avenues here. But we talk about an administration that actually seems to now have pulled back. Maybe they got the message, but what conversations are you having with them about the structure of regulations, how they may morph and how they may change going forward?
Yeah, I was actually in Washington, D.C. last Wednesday as part of a crypto roundtable hosted by Rep. Khanna, but attended by Senator Gillibrand as well as Anita Dunn from the White House. And it was, I think, the Democrats realizing that they've kind of gotten behind where the Republican Party and the Republican platform has been as relates to crypto. And I think they were there listening to the industry. Mark Cuban was one of the hosts of that event also. And so I think it was refreshing to start to have that conversation. But as you referenced, this is almost exactly a 1-year anniversary of the court case where Ripple was sued by the government. And look, the thing that the SEC was arguing most vociferously was this idea that XRP, the digital asset that Ripple uses in our technology, was a security. And And that was really what they cared about. And what the judge ruled is that XRP is not a security. And that's really been a formative case for the industry. So we're going to continue really clamoring and trying to champion the clarity of regulation. And I'm hopeful that as we see a changing of the guard, we'll see that.
Sorry, just to clarify, though, I mean, was the ruling, though, it did make a distinction between institutional investors and retail investors, did it not?
What it said actually is that just like if you package up real estate or you package up even pork bellies, if you put those into an investment contract, the investment contract is a security.
Gotcha.
But the ruling was very clear that no matter what, XRP in and of itself is not a security.
Brad, do you agree then with, okay, so the reason why in part that President Trump is pro-crypto is because he doesn't want China to be more crypto than the US. Is that actually like a material risk that China would surpass the US in terms of its crypto innovation?
Well, I can't speak to China specifically, but what we are seeing is whether it's the UK, Japan, Singapore, I mean, even the European Union, more than 24 countries have come together to create a framework to provide crypto regulation. They call it MiCA. And what's frustrating as a US company and someone who grew up here in the Midwest, it's frustrating that we as a country can't get that rules, the framework in place. And instead, we have this interminable litigation coming from the SEC that really isn't solving the problem. Well, we went to court and spent over $150 million in 3 years of our time arguing that in the court and prevailed. We can't do that with every single token. And so we have been advocating, and there is legislative momentum, both on the Democratic and Republican side of the House. Something passed the House just recently called the Fit 21 Act. The Senate is considering various bills. And certainly with the choice of JD Vance as a vice presidential candidate, he personally has put forth language, draft language for a bill that the Senate may or may not consider.
So it's less about the daylight between the regulation of the two parties, and it's more just about Gary Gensler.
Well, certainly Gary Gensler, in my judgment, has been at war with crypto. That is for certain. But it's also I think a tone from the overall Biden administration. The OCC certainly has been anti-crypto. You're seeing other elements of the banking industry really taking a kind of an anti-crypto point of view, which hasn't, I don't think, served us well. And to Romain's question earlier, I think, we as a country have benefited immensely from being the heart and center of the internet. The internet really grew up here in part because we had clear regulatory dynamics in the United States passed in the late 90s. That allowed entrepreneurs to build, that allowed capital to flow in. And I think we've been seeking that as other countries around the world have leaned into that, provided that clarity. And you're seeing entrepreneurs and capital in this industry flow into other countries instead of the United States.
I am curious, though, Brad, too, when we talk about the regulatory aspects of it. And I understand the policy platform that Trump and to a certain extent that JD Vance has started to articulate since he got named as VP candidate. But we also know that a lot of the objections to, let's just say, the growth of the crypto space was not just coming from the White House directly. There were concerns raised by the Fed. There were concerns raised by the Treasury. Agencies that to a certain extent will have a certain degree of autonomy from anything that comes out of the White House, no matter who is sitting there in the Oval Office.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly with that. I think that, look, what we are seeing and what we are seeking is clear rules of the road. The vast majority of people I know in the crypto industry are good actors who want to follow the rules. We've been asking for clear rules. And I think as Alex described earlier, in Chair Gensler, instead of saying, let's codify that, let's sit down, they keep hiring more lawyers to bring more lawsuits. And again, it's just a silly way to approach regulation through enforcement is not the best way to approach this problem. And that's why we've been working with people on Capitol Hill. And again, on both sides of the aisle. It just happens to be this became partisan for maybe good and bad reasons, and you're seeing the Republicans kind of lean into it more so than the Democrats.
We only have about 30 seconds left, Brad, but I am curious here about your relationship with the SEC. Are you in settlement talks at all with the agency right now?
I can't comment on that specifically. Suffice it to say that the ruling has been clear from the judge. There's one final piece, as you referenced, about these investment contracts that are sold to institutions. We expect resolution very soon, but can't predict exactly when the judge will rule there.
All right, Brad, thank you.
Wow, very soon. When is that going to happen? I mean, Brad Garlinghouse is so smooth, and Ripple Labs for the past, 10 to 14 years or however long they've been in business has been totally transparent. And when they were sued, when the XRP army, when Ripple, when all the above was sued back in 2020, we were like, WTF, why would you sue a successful ecosystem that is bringing a new technology to the world that is going to make things beneficial for banks? Well, you know what? The banks are starting to wake up and realize that, this is the wave of the future. I want to thank Crypto Guy at Crypto Guy 2714 for sharing this, for tagging me in the post. Let's keep going. Ellie Tarrant, Fox Business, Eleanor at Eleanor Tarrant. New from her. Donald Trump and JD Vance, who is his pick for vice president, created a pro-crypto presidential ticket. Vance is now the first millennial to be on a presidential ticket of a major party, and he brings that generation's politics to the race, which includes crypto. Here is the article. I'm not going to read the article. I'm going to leave a copy below. It is from Ellie Tarrant. Thank you very, very much. But I'm going to show you a video clip from Autism Capital at Autism Capital. And if we click here, we're going to play it.
Person, in my view, at least in terms of my substantive disagreements, I'm sure he's like a nice guy, is Gary Gensler. Okay, so Gary Gensler is sort of the complete opposite of my view. And there are two problems that I have with Gary. One of which is that I think he wants to inject politics way too much into the actual business of securities in the United States of America. But in some ways, the more fundamental issue, or at least the most relevant issue for this particular conference is the approach that Gary has taken to regulating blockchain and crypto seems to be almost the exact opposite of what it should be. And I'm oversimplifying a little bit, but the question the SEC seems to ask in regulating crypto is this a token with utility? And if it's a token with utility, then they seem to want to ban it. And if it's a token without utility, they don't seem to care. I almost think we should be the opposite here, right? I worry about financialization. I worry about, frankly, whether a lot of the crypto stuff is fundamentally fake. But if a token actually has utility, that's the sort of thing that, by all means, regulate it. By all means, be careful about, how consumers interact with it. But you don't want to just get rid of this stuff. And here's where I really, really worry about this is a lot of the newest challengers to social media, the social media incumbents of 2024, are going to require some blockchain technology to make their business work. Maybe they'll require a token that supports verification. There are all of these ways in which the companies, when I talk to sort of friends who are still in the VC industry, the companies that are most exciting to them, they're doing actual things in communications in the 21st century, in 2024, I should say, those companies very often rely on high utility tokens to do things like verification. Well, if we're not making it possible to do verification, then we're going to make it really hard to challenge the existing incumbents in the space.
There you go. JD Vance, Trump's vice president pick, blockchain technology, Gary Gensler. Brad Garlinghouse even commented here. He says, this is what more elected officials should be doing. Looking at technology as a way to extend American exceptionalism rather than actively enabled an unelected official to do the opposite. Absolutely. Finally, Ellie Tarrant got this out there, and this is really exciting because, John Deaton is trying to win the seat over Elizabeth Warren, who is majorly anti-crypto in Massachusetts. Right here it says that Ripple has donated $1 million to the Commonwealth Unity Fund, a new super PAC set up by Attorney James Murphy, a.k.a. at Meta Lawman, to unseat Senator Warren and elect John Deaton as Massachusetts' next senator. Murphy donated $50,000. More details and story to come. Congratulations, John Deaton. Kick her ass, please. Make the right decisions when it comes to election time. You know who I'm voting for. Pro crypto. If you're pro crypto, make the right decisions. My name is James Rural XRP. This is the James Rural Crypto Show. I have more videos coming up very soon. Stick with me. I've been working Monday through Friday, a crazy job in the Texas heat. Bear with me. It's going to be an exciting run here before the end of the year. So have a good one. My name is James Rural XRP. And guess what? I told you so.